Check out this old grill. Well, it's not old at all, actually. It was new in the box when I got it. However, it's recently been discontinued. It's a Lodge hibachi grill. And a little tip that my dad told me, and I tried it today and it worked out just fine, is I took some Pam cooking spray and I sprayed down the lump charcoal that I'm going to use to cook on. And then I sprayed the paper also, and it worked perfect. Lit a lot easier than just trying to light it dry. So if you're going to be cooking with charcoal, give it a spray. Look at this fiery bed of coals. I like using this lump charcoal more than the briquettes. The briquettes put off that ash that's like sand if it ever gets in your food. What's up, guys? Alex, On Point Leather, and I firmly believe that things that are made now are rarely made better than they used to be. So when I see vintage leather tools, I like to buy them. I was at the flea market today, or at an antique store. I found several vintage tools. The guy who had the booth was actually retiring, so a lot of his stuff was 50% off. I snatched them up. I've been doing this for years now. If you're a leather worker and this has become a main hobby of yours, then tool collecting has probably also seeped into that hobby or evolved into its own hobby. I'm sitting here using this vintage inspired, it's not vintage, it's new, cast iron charcoal grill, and I thought maybe I'll make a video about the vintage tools that I use. I'd love to hear about the tools that you use, so let me know down in the comments. For more videos like this, please like and subscribe. Alright guys, so here are a handful of tools that I've picked up recently within the last year or so. This is a Gomph draw gauge. These are kind of a dangerous tool versus a strap cutter because this blade is very sharp and it's always exposed. They're hard to set down. I think the safest way to set them down is upside down like this. And that's just how you leave the tool. There's always this blade right here that is exposed and ready to cut with. But essentially, loosen the screw, widen it out to whatever width of strap you want to cut, and you draw the gauge across leather. If you can see it here, the Gomph Tool Company, I believe this went out of business in 1924. Very pretty tool. I don't use it that often. I think a strap cutter is easier to use, but I appreciate the history behind it. This is a Sargent & Co. rotary punch. I got this at the antique store. See the markings here on it? It functions great. Rotates through the different sizes. You can't go back the other way. I really appreciate these old tools. I've needed a rotary punch for a while now. They can be pretty handy to get into things where you're not able to set it down on a hard surface and hammer through. And I finally got around to getting one. So by the research I've done with these Sargent tools, Sargent became a company in 1857, later moved to New Haven, Connecticut, which is where this is being stamped, in 1864.
1864? Yep, 1864, because that's the year it is.
And it looks like they may be continuing production to this day. This tool definitely feels older, but it's hard to say exactly how old it is. So this is an old tack puller. And I have used tack pullers, especially in saddle building and mostly in saddle repair. And with tack pullers, it can actually be a little easy to break and bend these end teeth. So I'm probably not going to use this tool. It's going to be more of a display piece, just decoration for the shop. But I thought it was really neat. Got a great deal on it, in my opinion. All the sign said was tack puller 1800s. So I'm not sure when this was made or even who made it. There is no brand on this tool. Just a neat looking tool. So this next tool I got is a large set of nippers. I think these handles are 14 inches long. And they are Heller brand. See that there? It's got the horse, which is a common Heller logo, and then made in the USA right there. I know it's kind of hard to see with the different colors. But they're in good shape. They don't come down perfectly flat to the table, which is what I appreciate, because then I can just bring the nippers straight down flat and it'll give me a little bit of bump on the rivet that I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to be using this to cut copper and brass rivets. The nippers that I currently use are just these husky ones that I got from Home Depot. And testing these out, they are night and day. So just the extra handle length helps so much. So to cut this copper, takes a bit of force. And to do the same here with these Heller nippers, it's just easy. And then with a brass rivet, this is the post off a brass rivet that I've used before. These are difficult to cut. I almost don't even like using them because of how much more difficult they are to cut and form versus the copper. They're hard to do. And let's try it with these colors here. Still a challenge, but much easier. So I'm very excited about these. I've wanted a nice pair of nippers for a while. So this next tool I got is kind of interesting. It was described as a leather cutter. And this post right here looks like you put that into leather, and then these are cutting tips. They're sharpened little blades. Look like screwdriver ends, but they are sharp. And you can set them. You can unscrew them and take one off. If you want to cut one larger circle, you can leave two on here if you want to cut like a washer. This is made by C.S. Osborne. And I don't know how old this is. It's definitely seen some use, and it feels like it's an older tool, but it is still in production today. I did not realize that this tool was still made. When I saw it at the antique store today, this is the first time I had seen this tool. So let's give it a try real quick and see how it cuts leather. Alright, so I've laid down a cutting surface, and I grabbed a piece of this ugly green leather that I don't really care much about. It is very soft. I don't know if that's going to affect how this tool works. I don't know if a thicker, stiffer piece of leather would be better. I also don't think that these cutting bits are as sharp as they could be, so we'll just see what happens with it. Already this leather being soft is kind of wanting to give me problems. Well, this tool needs some attention before it's going to function properly. And definitely not on a soft, pliable piece of leather like this. But you get the idea as it was trying to cut a circle. Another thing I noticed, and this cutting surface probably needs to be replaced at this point. If you can tell, it has a bow to it, which might have been the fault of the cutting surface and not the tool, but it was only cutting the outside. It was not cutting the inside piece. So if you were trying to do a washer or a gasket or something, this is called a gasket cutter, that would not have worked for you. And again, it could have been because it wasn't a level cutting surface. But in theory, you can put this in. You have to be okay with the center hole, and spin this around in a circle, and it will cut a perfect circle for you. Or two, if you want to make a washer. Kind of interesting. I don't know how much use I'll get out of this, or if it'll just sit there and look cool on one of my shelves. Okay, so this next piece is a piece of decor that I have hanging up, and it's actually from the family. Sherry is a wife of a second cousin, I believe, in my family. And they were cleaning out her father's house after he passed, and this is something that they found and asked me if I wanted. They knew I was into leather work, and I said absolutely. Pretty cool little old set that used to come. Out of the way here, and this is how the beginning leather kit used to be sold. I haven't messed with anything on the inside, so this is stuff that it would have come with. And I don't know exactly what year this would have been produced. One of these books might tell me. I really haven't looked at these too much. But just for reference, I believe Sherry is in her late 50s to early 60s. And this was something that she used when she was a kid. A wooden mallet here. A couple of the projects that she worked on. I don't know if this came with the kit or if it was just thrown into the box. We got some sponges, some artificial wool. It came with it. Some lace. Got a leathercraft little booklet here. Another booklet. Just a really neat Al Stolman kit. This hard board, I don't know if it came with the kit or not, but I'm assuming that was a tooling anvil. It's a little strop. Little pattern pack. Old Tandy. See some of the old pattern packs that it would have came with. Some of the old pieces of leather. These holes look like they came pre-punched. It's just real basic projects to get someone started with it. You can see some of the beginning tooling that she had started tracing out this flower. Started to bevel along the edges there and then gave it up. I don't know if this got cut or if it came that way. A couple circles, some practice. A zipper. Looks like a little key holder. And then here's some of the tools it came with. All just still in the box. This old swivel knife. It's pretty stiff. Swivels a little bit. This is marked Craft Tool USA. Pear shader. Backgrounder. Camouflage here. All of these are marked Craft Tool USA. Little beveler. About a medium size. And a seed. And then this thing. Neat lac. Leather finish. Old can of neat lac. So, this was this old kit. Looks like things were taped. Identified. Tape down here. She peeled them off and went to work. Alright guys, that's about all I have. Just thought it'd be fun to show you some of the older tools that I've picked up over the years. Some of the old style of kits that used to come out and how they differ from today. I hope you guys found it interesting. And please like and subscribe. I'd love to keep making projects like this. Any of that support directly influences the channel and helps it grow. So, talk to you soon.